Everyone has been baptised, right, or not? Any non-baptisms? Okay, cool. So I was the last one to the party on this one. But I don't know about any of you, but being baptised is one of the worst advertised things that you could ever get involved in going to church, right? It's like, you sign up, your life is ruined, it's hard, but the payoff is that whilst you have a miserable, mortal life, you get to spend the rest of eternity in heaven, right? As long as you do everything right. And so I was like, I'm going to game the system. I am going to basically wait until I'm almost dead, get baptised, then boom, all the benefits and all the drawbacks.
That wasn't well thought through.
It wasn't. It wasn't. But when I did get baptised, which I am not dying, for the record, one of the things that became apparent was how much better my life got. So for those of you who don't know, for a long while I suffered from many allergies. There was a nut allergy generally, and then like oral allergy syndrome, which is usually quite minor. The problem is that mine was not minor. I would suffer from like bleeding gums, delirious episodes, be quite weak and faint, muscle pain, rashes, swelling. Thankfully, it was never as bad as like anaphylactic shocks, which is like when you're breathing enclosed. However, it might have been, I never let it get that far. But the problem with oral allergy syndrome is that you become allergic to a lot of the things that make life quite nice to live. You know, apples, pears. Think of a fruit or a vegetable that has a seed in it, and I was not going to eat it. Which means no coleslaw for me because I don't know where the seed is in a carrot, but I couldn't have carrots. Like I said, apples, so no fruit salad. Think of even other things, like say sauteed chicken on a Chinese night. Couldn't have that because there's nuts in it. And the thing is that I wasn't born with a nut allergy. For many years, like 8 years of my life, I didn't have any of these issues. And so one day, came at my grandma's house, eating some Brazil nuts. No Brazil nut fans in the house? Okay. Eating some Brazil nuts, there we go. So I had some Brazil nuts, and I developed a rash. That was the first time I had an allergic reaction. And at the time it was kind of like, oh, you know, we had way too many, because admittedly I did have like an entire bag. Bit of gluttony there, as a little 8-year-old. But but eventually, over the next 15 or so years, my allergies get worse and worse and worse. There were some fruits I don't like, don't get me wrong. However, I didn't realise that part of my dislike for them was because I was having an allergic reaction. And so I was just like, okay, this is the way my life is. And so when I got baptised, I just thought, you know what, it's going to be a continuation of my life before, right? I think you know where this is going, I've kind of given the punchline here. But I just thought, you know what, it's more of like a symbolic gesture, really, that whole. My life is now, I've now made that dedication to God, that this is what my life is going to be like going forward. Because again, it wasn't like I had an aversion to being baptised, from being honest, to give my life to God. Again, when I was much younger, I went up to the front and was like, God, I accept God into my life, kind of thing, exactly what happened. Look at the little Bible, and it's nice and dated. And so I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to do this part until I'm almost dead. So I never like backslid or anything. It wasn't like I was out in the club on a Saturday night or a Friday night or anything, or like, living wild. I was just like the little Christian kids who just like hadn't got baptised yet. I was like, okay, when's it going to happen? Didn't investigate that too tough. But yes, post-dunking, I like to call it, Oreos for Jesus, got dunked, and no joke, in my wet clothes, I had a craving for KP dry solid peanuts, which, considering the fact that I was like, oh, I don't want to like, 20 minutes before, I hadn't thought of nuts in like 20 years. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, a bit of hyperbole there. For like 15 years, the idea of nuts was off-putting. There are times where like opening a nut around me would cause me to have a reaction. There was a funny time, well, not funny time, but looking back when it's funny, where my grandma, who's very much aware of my nut allergy, decided to open an Uncle Tom, or a Mr. Tom thing they call the peanut bars. You're going to have a Mr. Tom fan in the house. Whilst we were driving from Birmingham to London, and it caused me to have a reaction. I'm driving the car, so I had to just pull over the hard shoulder, open the windows, let the space air out, so I could like calm down for a little bit. So like it was like that bad, where like I can't operate a motor vehicle and someone's opening some nuts. And so, aware of how serious my allergies were at the time, to then get out of my wet clothes, put on some new ones, come downstairs and be like, oh, there's a bowl of nuts. And not only do I not want to stay away from it, I want to eat them and keep eating them. I had loads of nuts that day. And I've been healed from my nut allergy, which is amazing. Now don't get me wrong, as for the benefits of baptism, it hasn't cured all of my issues. I do still wear glasses. When I stand up during worship and I swear a little bit, my left knee clicks. But my quality of life is way better since getting baptized. I mean, when you have an allergy or a series of allergies that are so extensive, you don't go out to eat. Your friends will go out, What do you do for your birthday? I mean, I'm not going to be in the club, so I'd like to have a dinner, right? Well, I'm going to take it off the list because I don't want to have an allergic reaction on my birthday. Other people are going out, so what do you want to do? Let's catch up. Well, I don't really want to go to that place. Like, if you go to that, even though I don't drink heavily, going to a bar and the prospect of them serving nuts is like, I'm not going to do that either. So, I'm also a housebody. I don't like being outside. I'm not going to be outside all the time. Like, it's winter right now. I don't want to meet people outside. I want to sit down in the warmth. And so, what I would say for posterity to the camera is that don't try and game the system because your quality of life will improve. And honestly, I've not had my life is worse thing either. I think things have been getting pretty good for me generally as well. So that is my testimony. I am no longer allergic to nuts. So please open nuts around me. You're more than welcome to. I will say, I will say I don't like the smell of peanut butter, I can now say. Before I was allergic to the smell of peanut butter, but now I just don't like it. So if you have a peanut butter sandwich, please keep that away from me. Just but I'm not going to die. So yeah.